Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Terri, and this is the Love Doctor program on Empower Radio, the show that gives you the facts about relationships and love. Now, I've been helping individuals and couples improve their relationships for the past 30 years, and today I'm here to give you science-based strategies for your relationships and those of your children. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. I have a great program today. I am so excited because I'm going to discuss my favorite topic. That is romantic love. What is it? How can you distinguish between lust and love, and how to reignite that lustful desire in a long-term relationship? So you want to be sure to stay with me today for the entire show. Now, as many of you know, I've been studying the romance and relationship patterns of people for the past 30 years. And one thing that I have found is that most of us have experienced that crazy, out of control feeling at the beginning of a new romance. Your heart races, you feel a rush of adrenaline go through your body, and all you want to do is be with this person. Now, if you close your eyes and think back, you can probably remember that amazing and powerful feeling that affects you physiologically. I know I can, and I've been married for 24 years. Now, when you experience this heightened energy and your relationship is new, you often ask the question, am I in lust or am I in love? And I confess I've asked that question quite a few times before I got married. But the truth is, it's very important to differentiate or distinguish between lust and love. Now, don't get me wrong. Lust is fun. It's wonderful and very exciting. But lust is not the glue that keeps relationships together long term. It's important and it's an essential ingredient in romantic relationships, but the glue that bonds couples long term is something else. It's called romantic love. And you need to get beyond the lust to develop a friendship and romantic love with one another. So what if I told you then that based on my research, you'll never have to wonder about whether you're in love or in lust again? That's because, and you're probably going, okay, tell me, right? That's because there are 4 specific signs that differentiate lust from love. And the 2 states, lust and love, are sharply different from one another. So let's start with lust. That good feeling, that passion, that adrenaline rush. When you're drawn to someone based solely on passion and sexual arousal, that's lust. That's what we call that. We call it lust. It makes you feel intoxicated with sexual desire that just doesn't stop. And you're under the influence of those powerful sex hormones that your body is pushing out again and again and again. But I'm sorry to disappoint you, and don't kill the messenger now. That lust declines in all romantic relationships over time. Now, can you reignite those lustful feelings in a relationship? Absolutely. And my work with couples confirms that it is possible. And we'll discuss how to do that in just a minute. But in the meantime, it's important to understand that over time in a relationship, in a romantic relationship, lust inevitably declines. Now, love, romantic love, on the other hand, also has a physiological foundation. Your body starts producing oxytocin, that feel-good hormone, which is the hormone that triggers relaxation and promotes emotional bonding. The opposite, though, of those wild sex hormones that were fueling all that lust. Now, besides the hormonal changes that occur, there are 4 specific clues, as I said, to help you distinguish lust from love. And believe me, these are easy signals, easy cues to recognize whether you're in lust or love. The first clue When you're in love, you want your partner to connect with the people who are important to you. You're happy when your partner likes your friends and you like your partner's friends. You want to show the person off to others and not just keep them to yourself. And you want your partner to get a sense of your past. You like the idea also that your family and friends are really impressed by that person or this partner. That's love. And you don't feel that way. You don't want them to get along and spend time with the people that are important to you if you're in lust. Now, this is so true. My husband and I were fixed up on a blind date. That's how we met. Because when I moved to Michigan for a job at the University of Michigan, I was single and I did not know a soul. I was in my late 20s, and at the time there wasn't Facebook and people had never heard of online dating. So I told everyone I met, if you want to fix me up, please do so. I'll go out with anyone once. And believe it or not, I went out on a lot of blind dates my first year in Michigan, some good and a lot not so good. But a friend fixed my husband and I up, even though my husband said he didn't date anyone who was a professor at a university because he didn't like what he called academic nuts. But he decided he would try it, and the relationship really developed quickly after our first date. We met in January for the first time, and in April, we flew to Minneapolis to meet my parents. I really wanted my parents to like him, and I wanted him to like my parents. And I'll tell you a secret, listeners. If my parents hadn't liked him, it really would have affected my feelings and the outcome of our relationship. So wanting your partner to connect with the people that are important to you, and you want your partner to impress those people, is the first sign that you're in love and not lust. The second sign of love is when you speak in we rather than I language, because when you're in love with someone, your lives become intertwined and you no longer consider yourself as two completely separate people, but instead you begin to think of yourself as a couple. Now, you can still be independent, you can still have separate friends and interests, but if you're in love, your lives get connected and you begin to refer to yourself as we, as a couple, as us, rather than I and them. For example, I always tell my university students, if you want to know if you're in love or lust, think about someone asking you the question, what did you do this past weekend? How would you respond? And if you would respond by saying, we went to the movies, we had a fantastic dinner, we went out, rather than I went to the movies with Sandy or George, and I took her out to dinner afterwards, you and your partner are intertwined, and you're much more likely to be in love than in lust. The third sign of love is what you reveal to your partner about you. Because when you're in love, it motivates you to share lots of personal information with this other person. And oftentimes that information is intimate, and it might even be the first time that you're sharing this information with another person. When you're in love, you feel an urge to share things about your childhood, your desires, feelings, aspirations about the future, goals, all about you. You want this person to know you. It's almost like thinking about an onion. The outer layers are superficial parts of you, but when you peel away the layers of the onion, you get to the core of the onion. You get to the more personal, intimate parts of you. So when we experience lust, we share information that's not very deep, and it's like the sliver or the outer layer of the onion. We share topics like our interests, our tastes, what we're doing with our lives, what we watch on TV, or even the music that we like. This again is that thin sliver from the outside of the onion. But when we're in love, we share information all the way down to the core, to the middle of the onion. The onion slice becomes broader, and we talk about more topics. We want them to know more about us over the long haul, but we also talk about deeper and more personal issues and ideas and experiences about ourselves. We may even cry as we go to the core of the onion because the information is so personal and so intimate. I love that idea about an onion, don't you? So by looking at topics, content of the information you're discussing and revealing with your partner, that will signal to you whether you're in love or in lust. The last sign or cue that you're in love rather than lust is that you influence each other. When two people are in love, what one partner does or wants to do influences the other in strong and meaningful ways. For example, if you're thinking about moving to another city for work, or if you were contemplating any big change or transition in your life, if you're in love, you would want to involve your partner in those decisions. Also, if you have something happen to you, like a medical scare, the loss of a family member, or even you get fired at work, and you turn to your partner for support or to get some feedback, that's a clear sign that you're in love rather than in lust. Because if you're in lust, you don't involve that person and you don't go to that person for support. And it's so funny because I remember vividly when my husband and I were dating, and we hadn't been dating very long. I was in my office at work and I wanted to get something on a really high shelf. So I climbed on my chair that I sat on at my desk that had rollers on the bottom and reached for that book that I needed on that high shelf. But instead, the chair moved and I went sliding down to the ground. Bam! I tore a huge hole in my leg, had a huge cut, and it was bleeding all over the office. And I had to go to the ER room and get 22 stitches on my leg. My husband again and I had only been dating 2 weeks, and I called him to meet me at the hospital. You know, even now as I tell the story, I can't believe that I actually called him to help me or to be with me at the hospital. But it was a clear sign, a clear signal that the relationship was not just full of lust, but it was also full of love at a really early stage. So yes, lust and love are very distinct experiences. They affect you physiologically in very different ways. And there are 4 specific cues to help you distinguish lust from love. And to recap them, when you're in love, first you want your partner to connect and be with the people that are important to you. You speak in we rather than I terms. You want to reveal personal and confidential information about yourself. And by the way, you want that in return from your partner. And finally, you influence each other in many different ways, and you go to them for support. So now, even though lust and love are different, I know that you're asking the question. I can hear it. You're asking it. Can you have a long-term relationship that is full of both love and lust? And the answer is yes. You can reignite that lustful desire, that passion, that excitement in a long-term relationship. In fact, I got an email question from Dave, an Empower Radio listener, last week. And he writes, "Dear Dr. Terri, my wife and I have been married for 16 years. And at the beginning, she and I would do lots of things together, and we had regular sex. I was so excited to see her when I got home from work, and we would enjoy and have so much fun together over the weekend. But for the past several years, the excitement has died, and we don't do as much out of the house with each other anymore. We don't fight. We don't have a lot of disagreements. And I still love and respect her very much. But I need your help. Can we ever get that excitement back that I felt at the beginning of our relationship? I would like to feel that physical arousal and excitement with my wife again. Thank you, Dave, an Empower Radio fan. Well, Dave, thank you so much for your question. That is, by the way, the number one question that I get being the love doctor, and that is, how can I reignite the passion in my long-term relationship? And I totally understand, Em. It can be very difficult, very hard to get that excitement back, to reignite the passion and the desire and the lust that you felt at the beginning of a long-term relationship. And by the way, Dave, I can even admit that it happened in my marriage as well, because here's the truth, Dave. Study after study show that after 12 to 18 months of being together, yes, only 1 year or a year and a half, passionate love, lust declines. It is an inevitable part of all romantic relationships. And I know, sounds so depressing, but it's true. It's part of the progression of relationships, because as you get to know your partner, their likes, their dislikes, what they like to do on Saturday morning, or when they're ill, what happens, the newness and mystery wear off. It declines. And those are the exact things that fuel and ignite passion. So passion and lust are ignited by not knowing your partner, by being surprised by everything and anything they do. So the good news is, though, Dave, that my research has found that you can reignite that lustful desire back into your relationship by adding 3 behaviors back into the relationship. The same behaviors, by the way, Dave, that created the lustful desire in your relationship in the first place. So let's talk about those 3 strategies, because I think they're important and they're really simple and practical and easy to implement and add back into your relationship. The first strategy to spark passion is to engage in new activities with your partner. And that's because newness adds excitement. Novelty adds lust. Because think about it. At the beginning of a relationship, a new relationship, physical desire and lust are high because everything is new. Every place you go to, every date, every experience is brand spanking new. So if novelty and excitement created the feelings of passion when you first met, you need to do those same activities to rekindle the lust. And it's important to know that anything, Dave, that you do that's new and unfamiliar to both of you will reignite the passion. And it can be as simple as finding a new restaurant in the part of the city where you've never gone to, going to a class together, a new vacation spot. Again, unique activities you share together that are new for both of you will spice up your love life. Now, when my kids were very young, my husband and I did those kinds of new activities. For example, we signed up for a hands-on cooking class together and learned how to make cookies and how to decorate them. The class was new. We had never done anything like that together in our marriage. It was 4 hours of learning how to cook, and then we brought all those homemade cookies to eat back to our house. We laughed. We had fun, and it was really wonderful because we created also something together. So again, anything new, Dave, that you can do with your wife will add that lustful desire again. The second strategy is to use the element of surprise and add mystery to your relationship. Now, at the early stages of your relationship, remember, that was what added the fuel, what ignited that passion. Because think about it, you were constantly learning different and interesting information about your wife, Dave, every single day. You were saying, oh, wow, that's interesting. You were asking her questions and gaining information that was surprising and mysterious. So do that again in your marriage. Ask questions, things that you thought you knew, but you don't. Ask questions about her childhood, who she was closest to, her mom or her dad. One year, by the way, for my husband's birthday, I planned a treasure hunt for my husband that took him all around the city and ended up at an ice skating rink downtown. He was surprised, had absolutely no idea what was happening, and it was exciting and it added passion to our relationship. The idea then again is to recreate that oh wow feeling when you first met. The third strategy and final strategy to add passion and excitement is to seek arousal-producing activities. Now, this is my favorite suggestion, but it's not what you're imagining, and I can see all of you smiling out there. My research shows that if you do an activity that creates an adrenaline rush, the arousal that's caused by that other activity can actually get transferred to your partner and your relationship, as long as you do the activity with your partner. So in a sense, you're tricking your brain to attribute the arousal to that other activity to your partner. So you can work out side by side at the gym. You can watch a scary movie, the kind that makes your heart race, or you can scream your head off on a roller coaster ride at an amusement park. You can even go to a comedy club and have one of those laughters, that big laughter that will also recreate the passion, because the arousal that's produced through that other activity gets transferred to your wife, your partner, and your relationship. So thank you, Dave. Thanks for your question. Try to add new, surprising, and arousal-producing activities to your marriage. I know you can do it. And listeners, you might be like Dave, wondering where the excitement, the passion, the lustful desire is in your relationship. And all you have to do is add these 3 simple strategies to add passion, excitement, and lust to your long-term relationship. They're simple and they're easy to do. Now, we all dream and think about being in lust, but remember that it's important to distinguish between lust and love. And I've discussed 4 ways to differentiate whether you're in lust or love, and 3 simple strategies to make sure that you don't lose that sizzle, that excitement, and that lust in your relationship over time. So as always, thanks for listening. I'm Dr. Terri, and this is the Love Doctor program on Empower Radio. I'm here to help your relationships be the best they can be. My website is drterri.thelovedoctor.com, where you can sign up for my free monthly newsletter, where I provide you with simple, practical, science-based relationship advice. And if you have a relationship question or issue that you'd like me to answer on air, please email me by using the contact button on my website. And remember to put in the subject line, Empower Radio Listener Question. So until next time, here's to your healthy, happy relationships.